Hey there guys, welcome to a WWE 2K25 news roundup. Not really news, I guess. We're still waiting for the Raw announcement for whatever they're going to do on Monday Night Raw. But in this case, we have had some really interesting updates from 2K themselves. Some prominent leakers are leaking some information on X, Twitter, and I think there might be some validity to the claims. So let's have a look at what 2K has teased, and then we'll get into some discussions about the leaks.
WWE 2K fans, Mommy here with a little message to, kick things off for WWE 2K25. I mean, some people think that
Hold up, Rhea. I hate to break it to you, but this is supposed to be a secret conversation, not a little rant or a little one of your TED Talks for the fans. So let's keep the juicy stuff between me and Liv.
So 2K obviously posting a video there with Rhea Ripley saying, some people are interested in Entered, and then getting cut off by Dom Mysterio, who said, we were going to talk about this privately or something. I think Rhea Ripley's probably teasing, and the internet is definitely taking it in this way, that Rhea Ripley and 2K are teasing intergender matches, which is not something that's been in the game since 2009, apparently. It's an interesting discussion because I think WWE has always had a pretty harsh stance on, we don't want to show that kind of violence on our programming, we don't want to show it on TV, and we don't want to allow it in video games. Now, personally, it's never bothered me. I've never really wanted intergender matches, but I can't deny that the allure of having Rhea Ripley versus Dom Mysterio, or Rhea Ripley versus someone, or Becky Lynch versus Baron Corbin that happened one time, having these kind of matches in the video games would be a really, really cool feature, and I don't see why it should be restricted for the people who do want it. I think the immediate question that always comes up is, oh, well, WWE's not going to let you hit a female wrestler with a weapon as a male superstar. And that's fair. Maybe the way that 2K is going to be doing this is in a specialized match type. So almost like, this is like the worst example of all time, but back in the old Yuke's SmackDown versus Raw series, there used to be a match called Fulfill Your Fantasy. And it's a women, it's a bra and panties match, but it has like extra bells and whistles for men, I guess. It's not, by no means is it an apt comparison here, but I'm just trying to make a point that it could be like its own specific match type. Maybe they could call it a mixed match challenge or something. I don't know. The only reason I mention that is because a couple years ago, exclusively on Facebook, WWE did try to do a mixed match tag team tournament, and they called it the mixed match class challenge. And yeah, it was rubbish, but it did involve a very slight modicum of intergender wrestling, but not really, because if a man hit a woman in a mixed match, then the team would just get disqualified. So, but that's not all. The online discussion is abuzz around 2K potentially including the city. Now, I will preface this by saying that I have never played NBA 2K other than like a demo. Like when I bought the PS4, I wanted something to play, so I played like NBA 2K, whatever. It's not my kind of game. I know nothing about basketball. I almost said baseball there, so that just goes to show how little I know about NBA. I will say, though, I do like what they're doing with the NBA series. I have absolutely nothing to say about the city, but in terms of story modes and visuals, I think that the NBA series is miles ahead of WWE. In terms of like, they have real life arenas, and I really like what they do with the story modes, because I've seen little like cutscene parts of NBA 2K, because I was curious to see if I don't know what they call it in NBA, but if it's like My Rise, the main story campaign that's in the game, if NBA was anything like WWE, and it's pretty much the same. You start off as a nobody, you do a couple I really don't know what to call them, low-ranked basketball matches, and you end up getting signed by a big team, and yeah, whatever. Then you get signed by a big team, and you end up making a rivalry out of someone, and it's tried and true. It's been done 100 times, and honestly, at this point, I think we know what to expect from something like a My Rise. The point I'm trying to make is that NBA series has this feature called The City that seems to be very popular. I don't really know what's involved. It seems to be just going around an environment, going to shops, buying cosmetic items, increasing attribute skills, and it has a storyline or something. I don't really know. I'm probably the worst person to be talking about it, I have to admit. But either way, people theorize it's going to be included this year in WWE 2K25, and the internet seems to be happy about that. I guess there's some mixed discussions about whether it's going to be microtransaction heavy, and it could be super detrimental to the experience if it is microtransaction heavy, because my faction is already microtransaction heavy and it's not great. So yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is maybe don't be surprised next Monday if they announce that the city is coming to WWE 2K25, and it may or may not be microtransaction heavy, and it may or may not be very popular. We'll just have to wait and see. I would also like to highlight a leaker that has, or supposedly leaker. They always take these leaks with like a pinch of salt, right? Because a leak could just be, with like something like the Nintendo Switch leaks, they were mostly on the ball. I think the Switch 2 leaks were pretty accurate to some of the stuff that was announced for the Switch. But we're talking about WWE 2K25 here, and it seems odd to have people leaking information for WWE, which, although I know that WWE Games is a big seller for the company, I just don't think it's not really hit that cultural zeitgeist to the point where people feel the need to be spoiling and leaking information from the game. But there's a user on Twitter called Leaker25, or Leaker2K25, who claims that they're the only trusted source for all the leaks, and they've been responding to people really interestingly. So I thought I would go through some of the things that they're talking about and see if we can get any information out of their supposed leaks. I've seen a lot of people talking about chain wrestling, and if they really want chain wrestling back in the game, just to kind of have those mini games. I think another leaker was saying that, like, yes, there is going to be mini games at the start of matches and stuff, but this person's saying not this year. So I'm kind of torn. There's like one, to be fair, it's not a very reputable leak, previously saying yes, there will be mini games at the start of matches, but this guy or gal is saying not this year. So I guess we're just going to go on the assumption that it's not in this year. There's been a lot of people talking about new create modes, create a story being probably one of the leading ones. I remember ages ago, 2K released a community feedback form, and one of the most requested features was a create a story mode, and unfortunately this leaker is saying it's not in the game this year. This is an interesting one that I've heard so much about. I know that people have been pressing the developers on this one for a while, but will there be show intros and universe modes to come back in previous years? And obviously, like, 2K does nothing with universe mode every year. They really don't add anything to it. They don't touch it. And I've always got the idea from the way that 2K talk about it is it's an old system that they didn't even develop. It was developed by Ukes, and they don't really know what to do with it. They don't really know how to upgrade it, and they don't know. It seems like it's one of these, they call them dependencies. It's just something that's in the game. It has to be there, and if they take it out, people will riot, and maybe the game will stop working. But they also don't have the commitment and the effort to improve it or rewrite it. So that's the vibe I get from 2K. But the leaker here is saying Universe Mode has been having issues with coding, and that's why it hasn't received any major updates. As for show intros, the last I was told, no. However, the option is still there for 2K, they just haven't made it available to the player. So I feel like this kind of goes in with what my theory about Universe Mode is that it was developed a long time ago for SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. That's over, oh my god, that's over like 10 years ago. That's almost 15 years, oh my god. So yeah, it's an old system, and they don't have the commitment to rewrite it, and they don't want to put budget into it, and people who want to upgrade them, I guess there's just not enough people. And I don't understand that, because it's such a good system. I'm being honest, actually, it's the only reason to continue playing the game past showcase mode, because my GM's not very good either. I just find this whole thing crazy. And this is the depressing truth as well. Somebody had asked there, Tyler's asked, so according to you, Universe Mode is the same, so 2K only cares about my faction. And the truth of it is, the leaker says it here, my faction makes them money. So of course they're going to focus on that. And that's the sad truth of it. They can make all these improvements to Universe Mode as much as they want, but at the end of the day, my faction is the one that brings them a lot of money in. Anyway, I think that's enough about the leaks today. We can keep an eye on this Twitter feed to see if anything new comes out, and I will make a new video and update you on any new news coming out. I'll just be adding to the discussion for 2K25. So we're only really a week away from the trailer, I presume trailer. We're going to be hearing some news about the game on the 27th and 28th of January. So not long now before we start hearing some official news on 2K25. If you do want to know more about 2K25, I keep saying 2K25 is such a mouthful to say. If you do want to know more about the game, please consider liking and subscribing. With all that being said, thanks for watching and bye for now.